This is Seth David for the Sleeter Group, bringing to you a very special screencast. This time we're talking about how to handle consignment goods in QuickBooks. Give us a call for information about memberships and resources at 888-484-5484. Hey, Seth David here, and before we get started on consignment goods, I want to show you something, because this tip you're about to watch in video form comes right out of the Sleeter Consultant's Reference Guide. Now, the one I'm holding here is from 2012. However, by the time you're watching this video, you're going to be able to pick up your 2013 Sleeter Consultant's Reference Guide. So check the description of the video for the link directly to there, or just go to sleeter.com/products/consultant, and you'll be able to see our entire list of products that we offer for you, including the QuickBooks Consultant's Reference Guide for 2013. Now stay tuned for our tip on how to handle consignment goods in QuickBooks.
Previously on how to record sales on consignment in QuickBooks.
So what we'll do is we'll create a bill. But what happens with this, which is a little unique, is we're going to create a bill, but we're going to get billed nothing for the items, right? Because we don't pay until and unless we actually sell them. So over here we'll call it consignment vendor, right? You would put the actual name of the consignor, not consignment vendor, so you know who it is. And we're going to sell it for 0. And we're going to come over here to the items tab, and we'll put in A, and we'll say that we got 100 of these at a cost of 0. Okay, then we'll go to B, and same thing, we'll say we got 250 of these. Okay, again, cost of 0. This is just to get these quantities into these inventory sections where we need them, so we know what we're holding on consignment for others. I'll say save and close, and I'll say yes to the warning, and we'll move on. Next, a customer walks in and wants to buy this wonderful widget that we're holding on consignment on someone else's behalf. And this is where the magic of setting up the group really comes into play. Because we don't necessarily need the customer to see that we're selling this on someone else's behalf, or for that matter that we're making a commission on it, and we certainly don't need them to see what that commission is. And yet we want all that to get calculated in the background by QuickBooks so that it's all set up and very easy to work with. So we're going to invoice the customer, and we'll press Control-I to get an invoice form up, and we're going to do this to Current Lighting Warehouse. Okay, we'll just say store number 45. And the item code would be sale of widget A. Okay, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to enter in what we sold it for. The price each will be 100. Okay, so it's going to figure the amounts in, right? It's going to figure my 25. You'll see everything here. But I'm going to show you in a minute what the customer is going to see when they get their copy of the invoice. So we put all this in, and then let's just do a print preview. So in QuickBooks 2013, we come over to Formatting, and we go to Preview. Take a look and see what this is going to look like to our customer. As you'll see, the customer doesn't see all the details. The customer just sees sale of widget A, and they see that they're being charged $100 for it. Very simple. But meanwhile, we've got all that other stuff going on in the background. It's calculating our commission. It's reducing the liability. So now what happens when we hit save and close is I should get a $25 commission, and $75 should now be due to the consignor. So let's save this, and let's go see if that worked. Let's test the theory. Let's run a balance sheet and see, sure enough, consignment sales liability, $75. And now, of course, if the time is appropriate, based on whatever arrangement we've made, we can write a check for that $75. And, of course, when we do, we're going to write it through that consignment sales liability account for the $75. And when I do, it will zero out that consignment sales liability, and we can go home. Before we go home, let's run the profit and loss, and we can see that we've got our commission income of $25. So the whole entire cycle and process is complete. Our customer got an invoice that only shows them what they're buying and how much they're paying for it. But the group that we set up allows us to track the commission, record our commission income, record our consignment liability, which again is on the balance sheet, which is there. So we got that picked up. And then I can write a check to pay my consignor. And I'm not even going to bother with the payee for this purpose, but just to write the check, you can see, sure enough, the consignment sales liability account is now gone from the balance sheet because it's zero. And then, of course, there's any number of reports that you can go through and run to take a look at some of the details of what sort of went on behind the scenes here in a transaction like this. First, let's go back to the invoice. And one good way to do that, since we only have one transaction now posted in commission income, is to double-click this. And double-click again to get into the actual transaction. And let's go to Reports and let's go to Transaction Journal. So now you can really take a look and see what the debits and credits of this are. Right? So, of course, we debit accounts receivable in order to increase the receivable because we recorded a $100 sale. $100 went out to the sales liability as an offset to that directly. But then our other items sort of kick in, for lack of a better word, and our commission income goes in, credit to income, credits increase income, increases it $25. That's why we accomplished getting that on the P&L. And over here we have the minus 25%, which is reducing the consignment sales liability. It's reducing this amount right here by $25. It's in the debit column now. So that's how that nets out to the $75. Again, this is just for the consultant to really get their head wrapped around all the debits and credits and how this is working and why it's working. So you can really get clear on that. Now let's take a look at a couple of other reports that you will probably find very helpful. One is the sales by item summary, and we can filter it for consignment items only. So let's take a look at that. Reports, sales by item summary. So initially we'll have everything. Then we can customize this report, and let's filter it by item. And we just want it for things that are held on consignment. So I'll choose the parent category, click OK. And it gives me exactly what I need. I've got held on consignment A. I've got one in here because that's what I sold. I've only sold one of item A so far. And the amount of 100, the percent of the sales for this section is now 100%. And so everything's laid out here nice and clear. Of course, when I go and sell B, then that'll show up here and so on and so forth. Another one we can take a look at is inventory stock status by item. So reports, inventory, stock status by item. And if you scroll down, you'll see that when we get to the held on consignment section, we now have 99 of these. If you remember, we entered the bill, we received 100 of them for a cost of 0. And now we've got 99 because, of course, we've sold 1. And item B, or widget B, still has 250 on hand. So that's the inventory stock status by item. If you want to shorten this list, you can filter it for the consignment inventory asset account. And that will knock some of the things out of this list. It'll make it a little shorter. But basically, it's here in the inventory stock status by item, A and B. And so this will show you that everything is kind of flowing exactly the way it should. And that, my friends, is about all I can tell you on the process of selling inventory as the consignee on behalf of a consignor. If you have any questions, please feel free to email seth.david@sleeter.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our blog. Wherever you are, wherever you're watching this, subscribe and follow, and feel free to post your comments and questions right here wherever it is that you're watching this video, and one of us will get in there and get your response as soon as possible. But most importantly, if you enjoyed this, if you got something out of this, make sure that you go get yourself a copy of the Sleeter QuickBooks Consultants Reference Guide. The 2013 release has just been released as of the time that you're watching this video. So go get your copy at www.sleeter.com. As always, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the web.